Hello, Facebook family. It has been a minute because I did not do Thriving Thursday last Thursday because I was babysitter for my nephew. I always find I have to fix my hair when I'm doing this. So I wanted to come on today and I wanted to continue in Thriving Thursday. And I wanted to talk about a subject that's just kind of really been dear to me and something that I've just really found myself having to consider for my own life and having to consider for the lives of just other random people that I speak with and I talk to. So I think one thing that we have to understand and we have to always remember is that whenever you're dealing with situations and circumstances in life, number one, there's the concentration of what happens to you in your life. What happens to you, whether it's hurt, whether it's pain, whether it's difficulties, whatever it is. Part of the equation is considering what happens to you. The other part of the equation that weighs mostly is how you respond to what happens. Something that I want you to consider and I want you to understand is that who you are in your life, who you've become and who you have learned to be, a lot of things that we do and a lot of things that we operate in and a lot of ways that we react and we respond to people and situations, we respond and we act and we interact the way that we do because of our culture, because of our past experiences, because of the people in our life. They have taught us. So a lot of things that we do when we're responding and when we're reacting, we do it because of learned behavior. The one thing that I like to do with people is I like to take them through a process of reactions and behaviors that they have developed over time. And then when I take you through those behaviors that you've developed over time, I like to dig down even deeper and find out the mental process that gave you that behavior. So if someone breaks your heart, how do you behave? How do you handle that? And if you handle that a certain way, what is the mental process that calculated that type of behavior? And 9 times out of 10, when we get down to the very nitty gritty, and that's the very core and the origin of all of this, generally the mental processes that we have created have been based off of fears, based off of inadequacies that we have developed as a response to something else that we've gone through. So generally, we react into situations and we react to people based off of learned behaviors that we have. For some people, these are defense mechanisms. They've been hurt so much in their life that they've decided that they're not going to allow anyone else to hurt them. So in turn, what they do is they control situations so that those situations go the way that they need them to go, so that the situations won't have an opportunity to control them, to hurt them again. Some people walk away from situations because they have not learned the tools in order to communicate and to get out what they need to say. So because they feel inadequate and because they feel that they have an inability to properly express to you what they feel and how they feel and what they need, they walk away, because walking away for them is greater than trying to stay and communicate, because they find barriers in communications because emotionally they are distraught and they've not learned to push past the emotions so that they can learn to put into words what they're really feeling. So here's the thing. When we're in our partnerships and when we're in our relationships, one of the key things that you have to understand is that the person that you're speaking with and the person that's speaking to you, you are two people that come from two totally different backgrounds. You're two people that come from two totally different set of experiences. And you always have, anytime, this is the one thing that we learned in public speaking that I'll give you right now. I don't care if you're married. I don't care if you're in a relationship. I don't care if you have a business partnership. I don't care if it's between somebody on your job. Anytime you're speaking to an audience, whether it's an audience of 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, anytime you're speaking to an audience, your very first thing that you have to do is consider the audience. It seems simple. It seems kind of childish, but this is the truth. The first thing you have to do in any form of communication is consider your audience. especially when you're in relationships and you're in marriages. Listen, if you recognize that your significant other, your partner, your spouse is not where you are as far as maturity, as far as spirituality, as far as being emotionally or mentally sound, you have to consider what you're saying and how you're saying it. And you have to cater that thing in a way where who you're speaking to is able to receive and respond. You got me? And a lot of times the breakdown in communications and a breakdown in how we handle each other comes because we don't consider the ones in which we're trying to communicate or we're trying to operate with. We think that just because we feel that way, that person ought to feel that way. But this is not the truth. Let me give you an example. So here's one thing that I like to talk to people about. Whenever I meet new couples, I always like to ask couples, oh my gosh, how did you meet? When they're married, how long have you been married? And I ask him, how did you propose? How did you know she was the one? And I would ask her, how did you know he was the one? And I ask this because I'm old enough to know, wise enough to know that people subjectively consider love, and people subjectively consider a lot of different things in the world. So let's say I have a husband and he comes home and he says, oh honey, I have a surprise for you. I'm like, oh my gosh, a surprise. Amazing. Now for me, a surprise is a trip out of town, a nice jewelry box, money, something like that. But for him, he brings me a letter from his job saying that, he's been highlighted as the salesman of the year. Yeah, so not a surprise for me. Yeah, definitely not a surprise for me. He doesn't understand that I don't merit that as a surprise in the same way that he does. The same way of when I give to my spouse, my significant other, or when I give in a partnership or a friendship, I have to consider what that person that I'm giving to considers being a gift. And this is very important. And for those of you that are in marriages and relationships, please consider the book, The 5 Love Languages, because here's the thing. Everybody does not communicate success. They don't communicate love. They don't communicate heartache. They don't communicate heartbreak. They don't communicate disappointment. They don't communicate pain. Everyone does not communicate everything at the same level. There are some people that can objectively look at something and say, you know what, this is what that is. Let me objectively look at it and be able to deal with it. But some people have to deal with it subjectively, which means they deal with it based off of their experiences and how they see it. And that's the only way that they've learned how to process it, is based off of what they see and based off of what they understand. And it's very important that whenever we have these relationships and whenever we have these partnerships, and I'm here because, for me, I think this is just our breakdown of communication. I'll talk about this a little bit in my book, Something Has to Change, but I think it's a breakdown in a lot of our relationships, not just romantic relationships, but in our partnerships and in our ability to talk to people in business. Oh my gosh, I know people that are operating in business with business partners and investors, and they don't know how to effectively communicate, and they don't know how to effectively communicate so that the person that they're speaking to can have a clear understanding of what they're saying. So whenever you're speaking in any type of setting, the first thing you need to do is be able to communicate, to consider the source, the person that you're speaking with, the person that you're speaking to. The objective of your conversation is not to just get out your emotions and your feelings. The objective of the conversation is to express to the said person that you have a concern, that there's something going on, and you want to be able to speak that to them so that they can understand it and respond in a way so that you both can come to a place of resolution. And in our communication, we have to be sure to do that. Secondly, let me say this. You're not helping a person when you choose to walk away and not give them the truth in conversation. Now, there are some people in your life that walk away is the best thing that you could ever give them, because you know that this person is not going to change. You know that this person is not going to consider what you say as being something serious or being a healthy situation. So in those particular cases, it may be good to walk away. And you know what? You may just say, you know what? I think we've gone as far as we can go, but at this particular time, I just think it's best you go one way and I go another. But there are times when in a relationship, in situations, in partnerships, it is not healthy for you to not give a person truth. The one thing that you always want to be found in is you want to be found in your truth. You want to be found walking in your truth. You want to be found operating in your truth. You don't ever want to be found in a place where you feel as if you have to minimize who you are and minimize what you believe and what your positions are just to satisfy someone else. If you're ever in a partnership, friendship, relationship, marriage, and you have to consistently minimize who you are, your ideas, your opinions, your positions, just so someone else can be exalted, guess what? You're not doing them a service. You're doing them a disservice, and even greater, you're doing yourself a disservice. So, number 2, we want to make sure that you speak your truth. Own your truth. Set your boundaries in your life so that the people that come into your life know what to expect from you and know what you expect from them. Look, you can't fault people for not giving you what you didn't tell them you needed. Can I say that again? You cannot fault people in friendships, relationships, partnerships. You cannot fault people for not giving you what you never told them you needed. Well, they should have known. No. Because what I need in a relationship, partnership, friendship, someone else may not need. So it's not fair for you to just assume based off of your projections of relationships, friendships, and partnerships, based off of what you do and based off of what you need, that I understand. No, because my understanding could be totally different. In relationships, quality time is a major factor for me. But for some people, they don't need quality time. You know, they can spend less time and still be good because their lives will cater to that. That's, that's not me. So it's not, I can't fault the guy that I'm dating for not giving me quality time when I never told him that quality time was an expectation of mine. Okay. So we have to be able to operate with people, because a person will only treat you and operate with you how you allow them to. So if you don't set the boundary lines and say, you can play in this box, but you can't go beyond this area, then they don't know. They don't know the things that are off limits. They don't know the areas that are off limits. They don't know the activities that are off limits. And I understand that we believe and we agree that people are to know right from wrong and people are to know what's good and what's bad. But here's the thing. If I have operated in a way and you've allowed me to do it time after time after time after time after time again, even though I may know it's wrong, because I pushed the envelope, I may still do it because you've not told me no. I dated a guy one time and he said, you either check it or respect it. And I was like, what are you saying? He said, if there's something that I do that, that you don't like or that, you're not good with, he said, if you don't ever check me about it, then I just assume that you are okay with it and you respect it. And I said, no. I said, I would assume that you would just automatically know what to do and what not to do. But because of his experiences, because the type of females that he had dated did not mind him talking to other females behind the scenes. Not Tracy. That was not okay for me. But he did not know that was not okay until I expressed to him that was not okay. So we have to be careful in a lot of things that become painful for us, and a lot of things that become situations and really large stumbling blocks for us are really breakdowns in communication, breakdowns in understandings. And listen, you cannot take for granted that people just know how you feel. Yeah, they don't. It doesn't always happen like that. Sometimes people don't know how you feel. Sometimes people are not sure of how you feel. And sometimes they do, but they ignore it because for them, they need you to confirm it by saying it. So Consider your audience when you're talking. Consider the person that you're talking to, and make sure that you are saying what you need to say to them in respect of who they are, what they believe, what they receive, what they don't receive. Make sure that what you're saying in a way so that they can grasp it and have a clear understanding of where you are and what your positions are. Number two, you have to walk in your truth. Whatever your truth is, you have to give it to people. Listen, you have to tell people where you are. Listen, if you've outgrown a season, be good. Be good enough and be strong enough, be mature enough to tell the people in your life that you've outgrown a season. If you've outgrown a certain thing, be honest, be truthful enough, be transparent enough to be able to tell them, listen, I'm not even in that season anymore. And if you're still there, that's okay. My third place. It's okay to walk away from people. It's okay to recognize a season when you're no longer walking in agreement. Listen, sometimes you and a person just no longer walk together. The Bible says, how can two walk together except they agree? Listen, I may think that, this particular area and this particular thing is fundamental right now in this season, and you may think it's not, and that's okay. That doesn't mean we're enemies. That doesn't mean we're enemies. That doesn't mean we're not cool. That doesn't mean we're not friends. It just may mean that we don't walk as closely, and that's okay. You have to learn how to make your relationships. Excuse me, I thought I had a bug in my. You have to know how to make your relationships season proof. Everything that you're going through in a season, your friends may not be in the place where they have the capacity to carry you and to be intimate with you through that season. And that's okay, because everybody is not meant to walk with you all the time. Some people will walk with you to the end of the street, while some people will walk with you to the end of the earth. And you have to be able to recognize what people are in your life for what seasons. And don't criticize them, and don't hate them, and don't be mad at them just because they're not prepared for your season. It's not their season, it's your season. You get what I'm saying? But see, if you pay close enough attention, you'll be able to see which friends and which people in your life have the ability to weather all. You'll have some folk that'll come in your life and they can walk with you through winter, spring, summer, and fall because they're anointed to do that. But the people that are not anointed to walk with you in that manner, that are not anointed to do those particular things with you, don't hate them for that. It just means that they're not, and it's okay. But the season that they are anointed for, baby, they're going to walk with you. They're going to be with you. They're going to carry you. They're going to do whatever they have to do to support you because they are anointed for their season and their season alone. Any other season, any other thing is just off limits, and it is what it is. So understand where you are. And listen, stay on your number. And last but not least, stay on your path. Listen, the greatest thing in life is to be friends, to be in a relationship, and to be in a marriage with somebody somebody that has and knows their own path. The struggle in life is to be in a friendship, in a partnership, in a relationship, or a marriage with someone that does not know who they are and does not know the path that they are meant to walk. Because, baby, if you don't know who you are, then you will become whoever I tell you that I need you to be. And if you don't know your purpose, then you'll be running around trying to create purposes and hiding in the shadows of everybody else. And I'll never know who I'm partnering with, friends with, married with, in a relationship with, because I'll never really know who you truly are, because you will change every time something strong comes along. So number one, whenever you're in communication, always consider your audience. Consider the person that you're talking to. Who is this that I'm speaking with? Am I speaking with somebody that knows how to set goals, knows how to set boundaries for themselves, that has an ability to have great insight and discernment concerning situations? Am I dealing with somebody that's optimistic or pessimistic? Am I dealing with somebody that needs a cheerleader or is a cheerleader? Am I dealing with somebody that's a go-getter, or am I dealing with somebody that's going to lay down? Am I dealing with somebody who has common sense, or am I dealing with somebody whose head is high up in the clouds? Who am I speaking to? And whenever I prepare what I'm saying, listen, and this is even important in your marriage, baby girl, if you know your husband clown, be careful how you give him information. Husbands, If you know your wife gonna act a fool, be careful how you give her information. You have to be able to discern the person that I'm speaking with. Can they handle a problem? Can they handle a conflict? Or is this the type of person that I need to tell the conflict and give them the resolution in the same conversation? Be careful. Ladies, your husbands are protectors. So you can't bring them a problem without a solution. They're not emotional, so they don't need to know all 85 sessions of your feelings. They don't need to know all 85 to 100 gears of you dealing with whatever you're dealing with. Because the whole time they're going to be like, what? Yeah, But I promise you all they want is for you to get to the end of the story and let them know what happened. They just want to know, did the bad guy get killed or is the bad guy still in the story? You know what I'm saying? You know, men, be sensitive to your women because they like the scenic route. Most women, not all. They like the scenic route. They like to know, okay, then what? Okay, then what? Okay, then what they say? What? You know what I'm saying? Communication. We have to be sensitive to the people that we're talking to. And we have to be sensitive enough to understand what they need in order to understand what we're saying, right? Number 2, we have to be strong enough to stand in our own truth, no matter what it is, no matter who is with. You are who you are and you are where you are. And the first person that you need to be able to acknowledge your truth with is yourself. You first have to be able to stand in your own truth. I don't care what that truth is. If you're a liar, stand in the truth of you being a liar. If you're a deceiver, stand in the truth of you being a deceiver. If you are an entrepreneur, if you're trying to rebuild your life, wherever you are, you have to be able to stand in the truth of who you are. And then you have to be able and willing to give that truth to everybody that you meet. Everybody that you encounter needs to be able to understand who you are, where you are, not so they can approve of it, but they can respect it. There are a lot of people that may not approve of where I am and who I am in my walk, but you gotta respect it. And you don't have to walk with me, but you at least have to respect where I am. You may not approve of it, but you have to respect where I am, right? I don't even remember what number 3 was. Number 3, everybody's not in the same place. I think it's where I kind of went. Everybody's not in the same place. You have to be able to respect the differences of where a person is and where they were. And you have to be able to understand, like I said before, how to give things to us. Listen, to the bottom line is, because I don't remember what my 1, 2, 3 reports are, because I'm not good like that. But the bottom line is understanding your truth. Knowing who you're talking to and knowing what you need in your life. Oh, number 3, don't be afraid to walk away. If you're in a situation that's not good for you and you're with a person that you know is not going to change, don't be afraid to walk away. Don't be afraid to say, you know what, we're just not, yeah. I've gone as far as I can go in your life, or I believe you've gone as far as you can go in mine. So whatever that case is, whichever way, don't be afraid to walk away. I think a lot of times we struggle in our lives because we find it hard to let go of people. I think we're hoarders of people. Like, seriously, I don't understand how, we have acquaintances, but sometimes it's really hard for people to let go of people and to build boundaries and expectations with people. We do it with our children. We do it sometimes in our relationships. But the truth is, your inability to set boundaries and give expectations for your life does not say something deficient about the other person. It says something deficient about you. It says, if I have an inability to set effective and strong boundaries and enforce those boundaries with people, and if I have an inability to give my expectations, for instance, in my friendships, it's a problem if there's disrespect there. So there is an expectation with my friends that we don't disrespect one another. That if we're going to be friends, we support one another. My friends that are in my life have been in my life a long time. Like, seriously, I have 3 female best friends, and 2 of them, one of them I've known since I've known myself. The other one I've known since high school. And my last, the other one, I've known her for every bit of 6-7 years. Like, the people that are in my life that have stock in my life, I've known them a long time. I know them, they know me, and there are just some expectations and some boundaries that we have with one another. There's just some lines that we will not cross. You know, there's some things that you can come and here's the thing. You can come and tell me anything about any of them, and you might as well go on the other way, boo, because that's my friend. You understand? Even if it's true, that's my friend. And I'm not going to betray my friend, because I am first loyal to my friend. You understand what I'm saying? Even if my friend has done an indecent deed, I am loyal to my friend. And whatever the situation is, and whatever the, concern or the information concerning the deed, I'll discuss that with my friend. But you can't come to me and decide that you're going to have a discussion about my friend and expect me to just sit there and be a part of that conversation. No, because when you start talking and I realize it's about my friend, the first thing I'm going to say is, now I'm going to need you to know that's my friend. You understand? But that is our loyalty. That's the standard that we have set with each other, that we will never betray each other. We will never betray each other's trust. And then that's the expectation that we set upon each other. So that's number 3. Don't be afraid to walk away from someone or something that's disrespecting you, or that's disloyal to you, or that has created a place of distrust for you that you don't believe you could ever get back. Don't be afraid to walk away from something that brings devalue to you. Stop giving value to things and people that give devalue to you. If a person does not value you in the same manner that you value you, then walk away. But here's the thing. Make sure that you are valuing yourself at a high level, because if you are valuing yourself at a low level, you can't get mad at them because they're valuing you at a low level. They're just repeating the cycle that you've already started. So first of all, you have to be able to value yourself at a higher regard, in a higher regard. You have to respect yourself in order to set boundaries and standards for them to respect you. You have to be able to be loyal yourself in order for you to require loyalty from them. You understand? And last but not least, y'all, I had it in my mind just a moment ago. Don't be afraid to walk away. And then, I don't know, it'll come to me in a minute. But you have to be able to execute in your relationships what you expect to get back. If you don't execute things the right way, then it's going to be hard for you to get those things back in return. And this comes from years of, listen, y'all, this comes from years of me not doing stuff the right way. Like, seriously, in relationships, my answer was to walk away. There are a lot of relationships that I've had that before I walked away, I should have done that person the greatest service of giving them truth. But a lot of times I chose to just walk away because I didn't feel confident enough about me in order to give them my truth. I was like, okay, well, whatever. And I convinced myself that even if I told them the truth, they wouldn't do anything. It won't matter anyway. But what I did not realize is me giving a person truth had nothing to do with them changing, but it had everything to do with me remaining free. Can I say that again? Me giving that person truth had nothing to do with them changing. It had everything to do with me remaining free. Free in my heart, free in my spirit, free in my soul, so that I didn't have to carry the burden and the weight of the hurt, the pain, and the broken expectations. So when I give a person my truth, I'm not giving you my truth because I need you to change. No. You're going to be who you're going to be. You're going to do what you're going to do. I'm giving you truth because there's an expectation that I need to remain free in my life. And in order for me to remain free in my life, I need to have a steady flow of the truth coming out of my heart, coming out of my spirit, coming out of my mind. And you know what? And even when I give you truth, because let me tell you something, the truth expels every lie. And even though you may not change before my very eyes, but that seed of truth has been planted in your mind. It's been planted in your spirit. It's been planted in your heart. And one day it has to take root. And after it take root, it has to bring up a harvest. So I don't mind giving you truth, because giving you truth don't help you. I feel this thing. Giving you truth is not about you. Me being able to stand flat foot in somebody's face and give them truth is about me. It's about me being healed. It's about me being whole. It's about me having control over my life, my emotions, my spirit. It's about me being able to do what I need to do so that I'm healthy. So, number 3 was, don't be afraid to walk away from situations that devalue you. Number 4, I remember now. Number 4 is stop being mad at people who can't walk all the way with you. It's cool. I promise. The people that are ordained to be in your life are the people that you listen. The one thing I love about my best friends, and I have 6 in all. I have 3 guys and three girls, right? 6 best friends. And all of these people I've known well over 6-7 years, right? So I have one brother. So all the guys, I call them brothers. All the girls, I call them my best friends. So I have one brother. We don't talk. He may call me on my birthday if he has time. I may call him on his birthday if he has time, if I have time. I recently called him because he lost one of his friends. But there's no love lost. Like, we understand that we're living, and we understand that we're living life. But I know that if push come to shove and I needed him or he needed me, we both would stop whatever we're doing to be there for each other. You know what I mean? So we respect where we are in life. But it doesn't mean that they're not my best friend, or that doesn't mean that they're not my friend or not important in my life just because we're in different seasons. What makes them important is the people that they established themselves to be in my life long time ago. You understand? And what makes me who I am to them is who I established myself to be in their life long time ago. And that's what makes it important. It's not about what you do. It's about who you are. See, if I can trust who you are, you'll always have a place to be. If I can trust who you are. Yeah, if I can trust who you are when you don't have a position, when you're not on the top 5 list, you know, and it's cool. I'm not mad at them and they're not mad at me, because we understand that we're walking in different seasons. But at the time when the seasons come back together, then we pick back up like nothing ever happened. Listen, stop being mad at people when their season in your life is up. Stop being upset when people can no longer produce for you what you expected them to produce before. That means you put way too much stock in a person and not enough stock in Christ himself and in what's inside of you. So when people show you that their season is up, and when the time for them to walk with you and be in your life is over, cool. You know what? I appreciate you for being here the amount of time that you were. I appreciate you for contributing what you did contribute. But if I must go on, and if this journey happens without you by my side, it's cool. It's okay. Because you got to recognize that sometimes people don't have the ability to give to you what you need. And sometimes you don't have the ability to give to them what they need. Sometimes you can be walking in, and listen, I wrote about this in my book, Something Has to Change. So if you have not gotten the book, I think pre-order season is about to be closed, but it will be on Amazon. Listen, sometimes you can walk in a season with somebody that has nothing to give to you, but you have a lot to give to them. And if you ever want to find a frustrating season is when you have somebody in your life and you recognize that the purpose for that season is greater because you have something to pour into them, not that you're gleaning anything back from them. You understand? And sometimes God will put you in that kind of holding pattern where you'll be like, oh my gosh, why is this person in my life? And he'll say, I have them there because there's something in you that I need to get to them. So he'll leave that person in your life. He'll leave that person with you so you can pour into them and vice versa. Sometimes you are in the lives of other people because they need to pour into you. You don't have anything to give to them, but they are the ones that have been put in your life to give and to sow into you. So listen, be very mindful of the people that are in your life and when they're in your life and what their purpose is. Stop living life as if there's no purpose. There's a purpose for everybody being in your life, and there's a purpose for everything that everybody has to give. And sometimes people are coming to give, and sometimes people are coming to take. And you have to know and understand the times and the seasons, because you can be given to a person that's taking, but if they're taking from you in the wrong season, then it's no longer you pouring, it's them leeching. Did you hear what I just said? I said you have to know the times and you have to know the seasons and the purpose. You can be pouring into a person and they can be taking and receiving. But if them taking and receiving is happening in the wrong season, it's no longer them receiving, it's now them leeching. So you have to be careful to not misrepresent and misunderstand a receiving season and a leeching season. Sometimes we hold on to people receiving from them way too long, and we're now leeching on them. And so now your life has become a mimic of their life. You don't even know who you are because you have leached onto them for so long that you are now regurgitating everything that they are rather than operating in who you are. So you have to know when the seasons change and when it's time to let go, when it's time to break away, when it's time to step aside. You got to be keen enough in the Spirit of God to know when those seasons change, because when the seasons change, you have to change with the times. So, operating in effective communication, we have to be able to understand who we're talking to, prepare our messages, no matter how great or small they are, no matter what you're saying, you have to consider the person that you're speaking with. Whenever I have to tell someone something, the first thing I say is, okay, how do I need to tell this person so that they can understand what I'm saying, so that they can grasp what I'm saying and be able to, walk away with some idea? Who am I speaking with? Are they going to take it and run with it? Are they going to be able to be calm? Consider the source. Consider the people that you're speaking with. Number 2, always stand in your own truth. No matter what you have to tell somebody, no matter what you have to deal with, always operate in your own truth. Listen, this is where I am. This is what my spirit is. This is what my heart is. And this is just my truth. It is what it is. This is my truth. You may not like it. You may not agree with it. But this is my truth. Don't be afraid to walk away from situations that are not good for you. That's number 3. Situations that devalue who you are. Devalue what you believe. Situations that are blatantly disloyal to you, dishonest. Walk away from that. You don't need that kind of mess in your life. Relationships, friendships, partnerships, whatever. You don't need people that are disloyal, people that are devalued. You know what? I had a friend of mine, and I'm wrapping this up. I had a friend of mine, and I went to great lengths to be his friend. Great lengths to be his friend, his family's friend. And every time he would get a girlfriend, he would just completely treat me as if I was nobody. Just like, whatever, just completely drove to her. And I was like, seriously, get in public and act like I wasn't even there. But if she would leave, then he would speak to me and, come talk to me. And I'm like, seriously, it's like that? And, the first time it happened, I was like, you know what? New girl fever, whatever. But what I recognized was that was a pattern for this person. So every time a female would come along, he would just completely treat me as if I was nobody, I was non-existent and stuff like that. And so once I recognized the pattern, I had to govern myself, because the strongest thing, the hardest thing for me was to be able to accept the pattern. I saw the pattern, but I didn't want to accept it because I didn't want to believe that that's how that person's heart was. But when I came to the point where I was able to accept the pattern and able to accept that that's who he was and that that's how he operated and that that was the truth of his heart, no matter how nice he was in one setting or how nice he was in another setting, that was the truth of his heart. I completely dismissed myself, because what I recognized was that brought devalue to me. That brought devalue to the friendship that I was bringing to the table. You know, because there's no person in my life. I have 3 guy best friends. There is no man in my life that has ever been in my life or will ever come in my life or that is in my life now that can tell me anything about dismissing or not communicating with my 3 male friends. No, they've been in my life, bruh. They've been in my life. They have proven to be faithful to me. They have proven to be brothers to me. And you will not be able to operate in a way where you telling me that I cannot be with them. Now, here's the second thing. Because I love myself and because I care about myself, what I will not allow you to do, and this is going back to that situation, I decided that I was not going to allow him to devalue me anymore. No matter how much other people was like, well, give him a chance. It's all right. No, it may be okay for you, but it's not okay for me that you bring devalue to me. It's not okay to me that you treat me as if I am nothing and that our friendship, you know, is disposable like that. If our friendship is quickly disposable like that, let me help you. Let me help you dispose it. So don't be afraid to walk away from situations that devalue you. It's cool. You know what? If dishonesty, disloyalty, devaluing others so that you can be of a greater value is something that you bring to the table, I'm okay with walking away because I want to allow you to do that. But what I will not allow you to do is to abuse me. I will not allow you to hurt me. I will not allow you to do things that are, you know, unlawful to me, especially when it's not merited or warranted, you know? So, always stand in your truth. Don't be afraid to walk away. And then stop being mad with people when their season is up. Listen, some people just can't go the whole way with you, and that's okay. But the greatest thing is you were created. You were created with a purpose. There's a purpose under the heaven that God has for you. He told Jeremiah, he said, before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. And before you even came out of the womb, I called you. I ordained you to be a prophet. So everything that you were ever created to be was already done before you got here. And now that you're here, there's so much that you have to do that we don't really have time to get caught up in emotions and not being able to handle relationships, friendships, and partnerships the right way. Listen, we handle relationships, friendships, and partnerships as if people have the power over us to live or die. As if people have power and control over our lives. Listen, a person doesn't have a heaven or hell to put you in. So your inability to express truth to them has nothing, again, like I said before, has nothing to do with them. It's more so has something to do with you. Listen, you should love yourself enough to tell a person, listen, this is what I will allow. This is what I will not allow. And if you continue to cross these boundaries, you won't be able to be in my life. And it's that simple. It's that simple. But that starts with you understanding who you are and understanding that you have a purpose and understanding that you have value. Once you love yourself, the way you handle people and the way you communicate with people comes out in a greater way of power, with much greater stance. And it comes out much more confidence because it's coming from a place of wholesomeness. When you're whole on the inside, then whole is what you give people on the outside. But when you're not whole on the inside, when you're broken, when you're feeling inadequate, when you're feeling low self-esteem and all of that, then it comes out as being unstable, not confident on the outside. The idea is to become whole and to become, one with who you are, become confident in who you are and the fact that you have something to offer to this world. You were created just like everybody else. Stop laying down being people's doormats. You are not a person's doormat. You are not a doormat. Stop allowing people to just lay down on you. Stop allowing people to just lay down and treat you any kind of way. No, stand up for yourself. Open your mouth and say, you know what? I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. That's not okay. I understand that that's what you're doing, but it's not okay. It may be okay for somebody else, but it's not okay for me. Communicate. Open your mouth. Tell people the truth. Live your truth. And expect truth from someone else. I love y'all with the love of the Lord. This is Thriving Thursday with D. And I pray that this has been a blessing to you. If you have any questions, you can definitely always inbox me and ask those questions. But I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraged and know that God has so much for you. He picked you out to be royalty. He picked you out to be kings and queens, sons and daughters of the royal Most High. Like, you have so much value in the kingdom of God. You have so much value in his eyes, and I want you to understand that. So in your relationships, I want you to walk and operate as if you have that value, and understand that if you have a deficiency in doing so, listen, that's why I'm here. I can help you get the tools that you need in order to find your voice, in order to find and live your truth, because it's going to be important. The only way people will be able to respect you is if you respect yourself. The only way you can show people how to love you is if you love yourself. The only way you can show people how to value you is if you value yourself. So, I'm definitely here for that process. I would love to serve you. And I want you to remember that you came from royalty, an aristocratic dynasty. But the goal of the enemy is that you don't know who you are. That's what he wants. He wants you to not know who you are. But you are royalty. Hey, you are royalty. I need you to know that you are royalty. You are royalty. Lay your hand on your chest and say, I am royalty. I need you to know that you have value tonight. You are royalty. You were created with a purpose. He loves you. You are royalty. He had you in mind before the foundations of the earth. You are royalty. He loves you, yes he does. You are royalty. No matter what happens in your life, you are you're royalty. Yes you are. You are more than a conqueror. You are royalty. Greater is he that's within you, yeah. You are royalty. Hey, you are royalty. God bless y'all. I love you. Share this video with anybody that needs it. Mwah.